Cherie Hanson here. Today is the 81st birthday of my time on this life, on the surface of this particular life. I wanted to talk about the wackiness of 3D. How when we are in the cult, in the group of believers that believe in 3D reality, how it's kind of crazy. I was thinking today about some of the things I was reading on Facebook and how people who are trapped in the 3D, and I get a visual. So here's a person, instead of shoes, they've got a cement slab that's been poured and it's dried around their feet. It's so heavy in this life. I can't initiate movement in and of myself. I'm trapped in how I have been formed and how I have been imprinted and how I have been marked by my ancestors, and it all just traps me. And I was thinking about the idea of waiting in line. The way we look at time is like people who are waiting in line. If I am in line and there's not much space between me and the person who is meant to serve me, my angels, my guides, my ancestors, my team of loving support, then we have to wait until the time runs out standing in that line. It's one of the reasons why we say about someone who had an instant success or an instant healing or good luck just flowing into their lives, that it's not fair. I've suffered longer. I've waited longer. And so I find it interesting. I'm going to say something really horrible, but I remember when I was an adolescent, a teenager, and I would spend every morning looking in the mirror, popping pimples. And I think of that when I'm thinking about how I'm clearing the toxins that I carry in my mind. You see something like a belief that we're trapped in time and that if somebody else just began something and they had success, it's not fair. And I think about like taking tweezers to my mind and just pulling out that thought, that belief, and getting rid of it. Now, it doesn't get rid of it forever because you have to do it repeatedly before you come to a place where you instantly recognize a 3D thought, which is a lie. It's something we have promised to believe, because if we are believing it, we will be included in the normal pack. We will be included in the cuddle of the rest of the animals around us, surrounding us. And we won't die. And that's the bottom line. We won't die if we're adhering to all of the rules. We won't die. Well, the wackiness of 3D right now is the rules are constantly changing. I often think of it as a bad acid trip. You know, like there's a wall, but the wall's gone, and now it's a door. I don't know how to open it. There's no knob on it. And so we are facing the challenges of shifting fields of reality. And the thing that can save us from that is to drop down within, to get into a place where we are very optimistic that we have the power. And I don't mean to be out on the streets throwing Molotov cocktails. I mean, we have the power of creation in our lives. We can create what our lives are becoming with our thoughts, with our intentions, with our actions, with our commitment to compassion and kindness. And then we can move ourselves into a new reality. It's very much like a play. There's a scene in a play, or you've got a blank canvas and you paint something on that. We are not trapped by the 3D. We are in charge of creating what we are becoming. And nobody can take that from you. Nobody. Just the wackiness of the, it's like, I think about, the awake people standing along by the doorways with the pamphlets, and people are handing out 3D pamphlets saying, "Suffer! You are a victim! You will endure hell! There's no way out!" So you take that pamphlet and you go, okay, yeah, all right, that's what it is. It's that. But it's not. That's an illusion. People have lived through wars. They've lived through plagues. They've lived through starvation. They've lived through horrendous challenges. And part of the difficulty we have is we have castrated ourselves. The 3D leaves us impotent. I can't do anything about it. And that is a lie. If you want to drink that poison, if you want to eat that rotten food thought, if you want to live in a place where you see yourself as useless, as a victim, you need to stop and start changing some of your habits. Your habits of mind, your habits of self-care, because the greatest sanctuary in life is the way you love you. Other people die. They fall away. I'm 81. I'm telling you right now, they're not going to stick around. They're going to just vaporize. So, where is your sanctuary? Where is your confidence? Where is your optimism? It's in you, within you. And I often think of one of the, oh my God, she was a beautiful person. One of the nuns at the Buddhist center that I studied at for a while. And we're standing under a blossoming cherry tree. And I turned to her, as I do, at random. I just say what comes in my mind. Because I'm not afraid of my mind. And I'm not afraid of my words. And I'm not afraid of who I am. And I turned to her and I said, our job is to have this garden inside of us, the blossoming cherry tree inside of us, so we can always go there and sit under the blossoms. And she smiles at me and she says, yes, you get it. And I think that's the thing that is going to change the entire world. Each of us that learns how to ground ourselves, how to weed out the 3D cult hypnosis from our minds and our lives. We're changing the energy. That's what a light worker is. A light worker is a person who brings light just by who they are. What do you want to become? What's your vision of your radiant, powerful, meaningful existence on this earth? I wanted to read to you something I wrote this morning on my birthday, just share it with you. As I sit this morning of my 81st birthday, I noticed that I no longer see doing as proving. I no longer feel the collapse of time like a foot coming down to squish me into some form of human paste. I have light coming in, shining on the golden towel on my chair. I just had my cat's soft, purring body pushed against my thigh. I am drinking coffee slowly from a white cup. I had plans. I had a list, but there is time. There are other days. I think of the experience of hanging a colored sheet on the clothesline and how the wind folds and unfolds shapes of shadows and light into the bright fabric. Life is like that. The wind moves us into shapes, moves time into shapes, moves our reality into flickering moments. There is nothing to be accomplished. It is an illusion, this urge to nail a shadow on a wall and say, this. Accomplishments are an illusion. Striving is a panting, fear-driven addiction. Perhaps the point is, there is no point. It is all just a vast opportunity to fall into love. Head over heels, ass over tea kettle, after we surrender ourselves to the field of energy. Breath is true. Now, at the present time, in this flickering of light, is the place to rest. Like birds, we can wrap our tiny feet around the black branch of the moment. We can blink dark eyes and become so still. We are unseen. In deep perception, we are unseen. In no self, we see everything clearly for the first time or for the rest of our earth time. I had plans, but as the light shifts across the floor of my sanctuary bedroom, I ask, why? I can feel myself breathing. I can feel my shoulders gently lift and fall. The silence is deep around me. It is enough, this now. It is abundance. I am grateful. And that's what I wrote this morning. Please subscribe. Also, if you can put a thumbs up and a comment, maybe share one of my videos with somebody who's falling into the quagmire of the 3D and is living in trembling anxiety. Maybe it will help them. If you want a psychic reading or a card reading or coaching, get a hold of me. I can help you. I help myself. Help yourself first. And I want to say to you, as I always do, thank you so much for watching my videos. Thank you so much for your encouragement. I appreciate you.